Let's have a look at if the stream is up and running. There it is. So the chat's up, the stream's up, we're all good to go. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 8 of sports. We are here at Sakhir International Circuit, a 5.41 kilometer 15 turn racetrack. In my honest opinion, in real life, it's one of the better tilkodromes that has been made. It's offered a fairly decent palette of racing over its time, since its inaugural Grand Prix back in 2004, which was won by Michael Schumacher. In the virtual world, it's not a bad place either. We tend to see some pretty decent racing and some scrambled strategies as well, particularly if we see a safety car or two. So not only the quality of racing should be pretty decent, I imagine the strategical side of racing will come to the forefront as well here in Sakhir. But there are still several parts of the racetrack that drivers have to be incredibly careful of. Most notably is turn 12 at the end of the second sector. You can see the second sector split line there, just before sector 3. That corner there, turn 12, it has claimed many drivers. That inside curb is incredibly deadly. You touch it, it's basically a guarantee that the car will spin. It's just the car becomes incredibly unsettled when you run over the curb. It's very difficult to catch as well, particularly if you're a driver using assists like traction control and ABS. Will be very difficult to save. Fortunately, there's plenty of runoff, but it's still a high chance that you'll end up in a barrier if you spin out here at that very corner. A couple of the other parts of the racetrack is the infamous turns 9 and 10, the downhill left-handers in the middle of the second sector, one of the most technically demanding parts of the racetrack in real life, as drivers have to finesse the car through there with the brake pedal to try and not lock up for an eternity between turns 9 and 10. In the game, you needn't worry about such things. Locking up doesn't cost you too much momentum and doesn't cost you too much tyre life either. So we'll most likely see a carpet of rubber being laid down there at the apex towards turn 10. But we've got the 18 minutes of qualifying. Harry Ryan will be the first driver to try and set a flying lap. He's just completed the first sector and coming through the second sector. The majority of corners are here, so in qualifying this is where time is gained or lost. Coming through turns 9 and 10. See, there's no locking up there, but I'm sure we'll see plenty of drivers locking up. On the back straightaway, heading towards turn 11. Even with DRS assistance, it's not an easy place to overtake at turn 11. Bit sideways there. Using that DRS zone, it sort of just gets you a bit closer to the car behind, so then you don't lose as much time when you're going through the high speed turns of 11 and 12. That way you can try and set up a run out of the final corner, turn 15. That was 14, this is turn 15. As Harry explores track limits a little bit, he does a 26 flat, but he went very well wide there. As a result, his time won't be counted. Just quickly change to fitted tyres. You can see there a lot of drivers on the softs. The ideal strategy around here is probably the medium to hard. The soft to hard strategy is possible, as I found out in Tier 3 in a way. I know off experience, as Isaac Kush jumps to the top of the table, setting a benchmark time of a 1:24.7. Gee whiz, that's quick. So LJB does a 25.7. Same with Spilly. See what Kush Swaggy can do. He does a 24.7. Actually, that's only 1/1000th of a second quicker than Isaac. That is incredibly close. So early signs, ladies and gentlemen, appear that we definitely have a top two right now. They're very close in terms of pace. But in Tier 3, a race that I just did, Those hard tyres can last about 24 laps, as I found out. Fortunately, there was an incident at turn 4, and I unfortunately couldn't avoid it. As a result, I got wing damage on lap 5, and I think I pitted lap 6. And then I had to do the entirety of the rest of the race on hards. There was no virtual safety cars. There was no proper safety cars during that stint. The tyres got up and over 80%. I know that. They were properly in the red. But fortunately, they didn't puncture on me. And they still had pretty decent pace compared to those on other sort of scrubbed hards and scrubbed mediums and scrubbed soft tyres. So the hard tyre around here at Sakhir is quite a reliable one. GeForce Crichton, another one of the quick drivers. See, the current top times are in the 24s. Can Zach get himself up there? Around the final 2 bends on the racetrack. DRS open. He will cross the line to set a 24.9. So he too is in those 24s, but not quite the same pace as our current top 2. GeForce TP has elected to go back into the pits. You can see there he invalidated, so he elected not to finish that lap. Polish Gorilla in the other Renault. We saw Harry Ryan just a few moments ago. Currently on a flying lap, making his way around the first sector now. Crossing into the second through the high-speed S's. 6th gear, 7th gear into turn 8. Now that corner will see a lot of rubber being laid down there as well. Typically drivers lock up the inside right tyre, front right tyre. As a result, we'll just see this massive carpet of rubber heading towards the apex there. Around turn 11, then up the hill, around the sweeper of turn 12. You see there, doesn't even get near that inside curb. I wouldn't either. It's quite a deadly bit of track. Heading down the final long straight towards turns 14 and 15. That little right-hand kink here, that's a corner on the official track map. I'll explain. Don't ask me why, but yeah, that's a corner. So I don't understand it, but yeah, there you go. Tell you what, we're right on board with GeForce Wogboy. He can take us on a guided tour of the lap here at Sakhir, round turn 1, 3rd gear on the exit. Short shifting to 4th and utilising all of 4th into 5th as he exits turn 3, heading towards a heavy braking zone of turn 4. This is where the majority of overtakes are going to take place. The rest of the racetrack is a bit difficult. Now through the high-speed S's in the 2nd sector, one of the racing points at Spilly getting out of the way there. And I think Wogboy got held up on the curb at the exit of 7. It seemed like how the car twitched there. The curb caught him out just a little bit. Round turn 10, slowest corner on the racetrack, I think. It's either it or turn 1. I'm actually not 100% sure. Round turn 11, 4th gear, short shifts to 5th. 6th gear, now into turn 12. You'll see here he keeps about a foot's width away from the inside curb. Purple to the 2nd sector, though I think that's just a glitch. Oh, and what a poor mistake that was from Wogboy. Wasn't paying attention, I guess. Either that or the curb unsettled the car to such a degree that it shifted it off the racetrack, and as a result he invalidates. Accurately parks it, slows it up before pit entry. Oh, that's definitely not purple first sector, so that's just a glitch there for Harry. I've seen a few quicker times in the 27s in the first sector. Around turns 9 and 10. Takes it quite nicely, gently on the throttle, up through the gears. Now, he's not using DRS. Interesting. And he's he must be on an in lap, I suppose. Either that or he's setting up another flying lap. Kevin Texas on a flyer. With yellow flags, I think that's just Harry slowing down. Kevin, he's heading around turns 11 and then turn 12. He's got a McLaren just behind. Around turn 13. And he's just psyching himself up for turn 14. He'll move over to the left-hand side, try and open up the corner, as he did there, used all the curb. Flat out to the finish. DRS open, crossing the line, does a 25.5. So he's inside the top 10 in 7th. McLaren behind was Nachos. He's 700 slower than Curving in P8. So both McLarens looking solid in the top 10. Both Haas's looking solid, in both of them in the top 5, as Isaac Kush betters his time to do a 24.6. So does Swaggy in response, but he's 300ths off. So that's going to be quite a tight tussle between those two at the end of the session. We better keep an eye on those guys. Should be fantastic to watch. I think Crichton is just coming around the final corner now. We'll go to him in just a moment. We'll see Leo complete this flying lap. Around the final 2 bends. Up through the gears. DRS open. He does a 1:24.8. Jumps to 3rd. Oh, and Crichton makes a crucial error there. At the exit of turn 2, coming through turn 3, used too much curb there. And as a result, he has invalidated his time. Plevs, I think he just bettered his own time with a 25.3. So I believe he's on an in-lap. Although he's on fresh softs, those are 0-lap-old softs, so maybe he's doing another outlap perhaps? I'm not sure. We'll wait and see. Zendizi not on the fly, neither is Nachos, neither is Sorrel JB. G-Force TP isn't. Polish Gorilla is. He's up by 0.2 of a second in the first sector. Down the hill towards turn 8. Locking up there. Then up the hill, over the crest towards turns 9 and 10. There's a slow Alfa Romeo at turn 12. We needn't worry too much about that. That must be Sandizi as Swaggy's in the pits. Polish Gorilla now heading around turn 11. 4th gear gently on the throttle. And around turn 12. Late apexing it, out wide again. Really nailed the exit there. Used all of the track width that he could have possibly used there. And he was up by 0.3. With that sort of pace, he is going up into the top 10. See if he can nail the final 2 turns in the final sector. He does a pretty decent job. Up through the gears with DRS open. He crosses the line to set at 25.5. Jumps inside the top 10 in 8th place, respectively. Plevs is on a flying lap, so that lap he was on before, it was just a second out lap, not an in lap. Making his way up the hill round turn 12 to end the second sector. He's low on fuel, and he's up by 0.09 of a second effectively. He won't improve position at this stage. He really needs to nail this final sector. He'll come around the final 2 turns, turns 14 and 15, up through the gears, and he'll pull into the pit lane. He'll pull out last minute. Our unofficial race winner from Australia, unfortunately for Plebs, that was taken away from him, as Zach Crichton was unfairly judged by the Codemaster stewards. He was given 2 penalties, I believe, when entering the pits, if I remember correctly. As a result, he gave him a fairly brutal penalty. But the Race Spec stewards elected to remove that. And as a result, he took victory in Australia. But Plez will be looking to continue his solid form over the past few races. He's been incredibly consistent. We'll probably see him get no penalties, I imagine, like he typically does. See him challenge perhaps for a top 5 finish. OP Magic currently P5 at the moment. Solid qualifying session for the Red Bull driver. And everyone's now preparing themselves for the final flying lap in this qualifying session. Oh, mate, Kurt. I think he's just dawdling around the racetrack. Though he's low on fuel, so you might find it difficult to try and set a flying lap. Wogboy has done a 32.5 on a set of mediums. That's not respectable even on a set of mediums. So he's on a second flying lap. Try and find some more pace. Harry Ryan has just started his final flying lap. DRS open on the back straight. For Wogboy, you'll just see what he can get on these tyres. If he can qualify in the 10 on these mediums, that would be a massive helping hand for him, because the majority of the drivers outside the top 10, they will most likely go with either a medium or a hard compound tyre. I don't think we'll see any drivers outside the 10 decide to put on the soft compound. Don't think we'll see it at all. Around the final 2 corners, he will cross the line to set a 26.1. Pretty respectable lap time, considering he's on mediums. This will be the battle to watch. These guys. Swaggy gets out of the way. Spilly's on a flying lap, so that's great awareness there from Swaggy. And Isaac Kush is just behind. There's Sandizi, the other Alfa Romeo. See here with Spilly, see what kind of time he can do. There's also Harry Ryan. Whereabouts is he? He's crossing the line now to set a 25.7. So it's very close in qualifying at the moment. It's incredibly impressive to watch. This is it. These two guys incredibly close in terms of time in this qualifying session. Leo isn't too far behind either, though he's holding up Swaggy quite a bit. Swaggy will have to back off. That'll cost him a run through the final corner, and he's invalidated at the final turn. As a result, he won't be able to set a lap time, so he's in. His qualifying session is done. His challenge for pole position is over. Unbelievable. Who would have thought we'll see that sort of drama in qualifying? I wonder what Swaggy's opinion of that might be. He got held up quite a bit from Leo there at the second last corner. And Leo, he's up by 9 thousandths of a second in the first second. Look at these guys. They didn't give each other enough space. They're all just impeding each other. Oh dear, oh dear. Isaac Kush. He's now got a massive reprieve as Swaggy is out of the session. Polish Gorilla has crashed out at the entry to turn 8. His session is done. But Kush, rounding turn 12, he is up by a 1/10 and a half. Round turn 13, using all of the track that he could possibly use. Now towards turn 14, the last heavy braking zone on the circuit. He chucks it in 3rd gear, short shifts to 4th, 5th gear, 6th gear. DRS open, up to the line, does a 1:24.479. Cements himself at the top of the table. Can anybody knock him off? Leo doesn't improve, he stays 3rd. And Zach, is he being impeded a bit here from Curving Texas, I wonder? As Mr. Mount, out of nowhere, jumps to 2nd place with a 1:24.592. We'll see here Zach, he's going to cross the line at 24.8. He does improve, but he stays, I believe, P6. Plevs, his session is done as well. He's on 0 ERS mode. And I believe everyone else is finished as well. So it's Isaac Kush on pole position. Then out of nowhere, the Williams of Mr. Mount jumps up to the front row in 2nd place with a 24.592. Swaggy what his session could have been. Without that invalidation, he will start in P3. And I believe he has the Red Bull of OP Magic alongside of him, and that just might be the best qualifying session for OP Magic, I think, in this championship. He absolutely nailed it out there. I think that goes for Mr. Mount as well. I think both of them, this is their best qualifying performance in Tier 1. Leo in P5, Christ in P6, Mofo, that might be a PB as well in P7, Plebs in P8, TP in 9th, Polish Gorilla rounds out the top 10. We'll go through the rest of the order when we line up onto the grid, because it will be very interesting to see which driver goes with what tyre. It'll be very interesting. I imagine a lot of them will go for the mediums, so then you don't immediately start on the hard tyre, get damage, and then you're sort of nowhere. So you need that hard tyre to sort of fall back on. Will we see someone gamble on the softs, perhaps try and get that track position early on, and then try and compensate afterwards? Several things you could toss up. Drivers, they'll be deciding what kind of strategy to go with. For the drivers outside the 10, deciding what kind of tyre to start with. They'll all be adjusting their fuel loads appropriately. No signs of wet weather, as it's typical here in Sakhir. I don't think I've ever done a race here, either as a driver or a commentator, where it rained. So, to no one's surprise, no signs of any sort of wet weather. But we'll be lining up on the grid now, waiting for the game to save. Here we go. Oh, dearie me. Right, grid time. So we know what the top 10's like, and they're all starting on the softs. Outside of it, pretty interesting story. So, Nachos in P11, starting on the medium, same with Sandeezy in P12. Sir LJB in 13th on the medium, same with Curving Texas in P14. Old Mate Kurt in 15th on a set of mediums, same with Spilly, P16 on a set of mediums. Then the two drivers at the back of the field, Harry Ryan and GeForce Wogboy, P17 and 18 respectively, have decided to take a gamble, start on the hard compound tyre and run extremely long into the race. Those hard tyres can last a while, particularly if they're not using assists, so it'll be very interesting to see what those two drivers can do at the back of the field. Hopefully they'll miss all the lap 1 carnage. Get the telemetry up, don't need the lap data. But this should be quite the interesting race. We saw in qualifying that Izzat and Swaggy are close. They are very close in terms of pace, and it's showing that Mr. Mountain OP, they've got some speed underneath them as well. Qualifying was fairly close, after all. Everyone qualified on the soft compound tyre. So nothing is quite set in stone in regards to the race result. I think anyone towards the front of the field, even the drivers starting on the mediums, they have a chance of perhaps taking a win here if luck falls in their favour. It should be a fairly entertaining race. I do certainly hope so. Last week in Australia was bonkers. That race was nuts. And hopefully we can continue that here. I have no idea what the racing around here would be like if it was wet. Roscoe? I've never experienced it. I imagine though it would be interesting because no one has ever practiced for wet weather here at Bahrain. So effectively everyone's on a clean slate. So no one would really know what they're doing in a way. They would be sort of taking educated guesses on where to brake, where to turn, what gear they should be in. They would sort of have to utilize their natural talent rather than previous experiences in order to be fast in wet conditions around here. So it would be very interesting to see though. And hopefully this will be very interesting as well. Wogboy's lined up. The final driver on the grid. He's ready to race. But here we go in Sakhir. We have 5 red lights, and it's lights out. And away we go. Start. It was decent, but Mr. Mount is down the inside. Here into turn 1. He can't get it done, though. The rest of the field shuffle their way through the first turn. They're making their way through turn 2. Bit of contact here and there, but nothing incredibly major. As they head towards turn 3, look at the pack. They're all just switchbacking and moving all over the place to try and find a way past. But, oh, a bit of contact there between Nachos and Pledges. Old mate Kurt is around at turn 4. And he's got wing damage. Oh, dear. As Swaggy gets past Mr. Mount, that may prove critical in terms of this race, as Izzat has almost got a 1 second lead over Swaggy already as they head towards turn 11. Rest of the pack fairly close together. Nothing too silly at the moment. These two are side by side, Spilly and Gorilla. They go through turn 11. Sendeezy is just in behind and passes Spilly. He was compromised on the outside. As a result, he loses a position. So does OP. Actually, no. They're fighting. They're side by side. OP Magic and Zach Crichton towards turn 14, and OP more or less waves the white flag, allows Zach to go in front. Oh, but he ran out of ERS, and as a result, OP fights back and slingshots by. Oh, and a big move, perhaps. No, he was moving left and right. OP has gone deep. They're side by side, going through turn 2. Oh dear, we have the lap glitch still. That's fantastic. So that's Leo, I believe, behind. Oh my word, that was very close. Some twitchy movements here as they go through the first sector. Crichton and OP really fighting hard here. And I do believe it's Leo. It's just in behind. Same with his teammate, One Slick Mofo. You can see there Zach being quite aggressive, trying to find a way past. I don't believe he made any contact, but he made some ferocious moves with the wheel. So old mate Kurt goes out to the pits on those hard tyres. I don't think they'll go that long. I know off tier 3 they can do about 23 or 24 laps, but I don't think they're going to do 28, unfortunately. It's not lap 3 at the moment, it's only lap 2, as Codemasters hasn't fixed the lap 2 glitch. So, hey presto, that's still a thing. So go around turn 14. Mr. Mount still just in behind Swaggy, as the leaderboard has fixed itself. Kush has given himself a healthy margin of 1.3 seconds. Unfortunately for Swaggy, he still has plenty of company. So if Mr. Mount is a bit impatient, we might see these two battle it out for second right now. Though I think it might be in both drivers' favours to just be patient and see if Swaggy can catch up to Izzat, and then turn it from a battle for second place to a battle for the lead. Midfield still incredibly close together. So they make their way through the high-speed S in the second sector. Everyone behaving themselves. Not doing anything silly at the moment. Though Spilly does have a 3-second time penalty. Yes, he does. Unfortunately. Something he'll have to deal with at the end of the race. G-Force TP, he's got Sorrel JB on the back of him. Just in front of him is Polish Gorilla. All of these guys will have DRS, so they can't really attack each other at the moment. No. It's good to see everyone is still doing relatively well. It's just unfortunate for Kurt that he had an incident on lap 1. He's a long way behind the field. He basically needs a safety car in order to try and save his race. And Mr. Mount, he's playing a patient game, just sticking behind Swaggy for now. Although Swaggy isn't really catching Izzat at the moment, the gap is increasing. Though it wouldn't help for Swaggy that he's got a Williams filling up his mirrors. Still get that little bit of pressure. Leo on the back of OP, who doesn't have DRS. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see these two start to scrap it out. As Sandeezy gets past Billy. Just before the S's, there was a bit of contact there. I was going to talk about something else, but never mind. These two are having at it. They're side by side at the exit of 8. Are they still side by side into 9? They are. Sandeezy has to go around the long way here. That's a shocking camera shot, Codemasters, dear me. And they're still side by side. No. Sandeezy gets past, and so does Polish Gorilla, or at least he's trying to. He's going for the send. They don't make contact. As Billy comes out in front. Just. Oh, as Gorilla runs wide. Bit of a heart-in-mouth moment there for sure. This is on here for 5th place. Using overtake, using DRS. Sitting in the slipstream, Leo will pull out. And slingshot by the Red Bull for 5th. Will OP counter-attack here into turn 1? No. Thinks better of it. As Mr. Mount overtakes Swaggy for 2nd place. Can Mr. Mount close in on our current race leader? Or is this battle here pretty much set in stone for 2nd place? Because at the moment, Izzat's being very fast and very consistent. Just pulling away from the guys behind. But we'll see what Mr. Mount can do. Spilly overtakes Sandeezy, so this battle isn't done. I think Sandeezy must have made a mistake because that gap has increased quite a bit there. The Sorel JB and Polish Gorilla are battling, heading up and over the crest towards turns 9 and 10. They are still side by side. Round the long way, Polish Gorilla. Yeah, he wasn't going to make that stick. And here comes Wogboy on those hard tyres. He hasn't got a run to attack the Renault just yet. There's a Renault. Oh! Polish Gorilla has damage. Oh dear. So he'll have to come in and get that replaced soon. You could probably put in this lap, put on the hards and go to the end. That's what I did in Tier 3, so very much doable. Here comes Wogboy down the inside. Doesn't commit to the move, locking up Sir LJB. Is he going into the pits? No, he's staying out for another lap. Trying to fight on. He gets passed by Wogboy for 14th. Spilly down the inside of Nachos. That's for P10. And Nachos is not giving up. Round turn 2. Oh, a bit of a moment there for the Italian. And he doesn't have DRS, unfortunately, to counter-attack into turn 4. As a result, he stays in P11 for now. Crichton's now getting involved in this battle for 2nd. It appears that Mr. Mount can't close in on Izzat. Izzat pulling away at a comfortable rate. Doing what he needs to do. But we'll see how aggressive Zach is in this scenario. We saw how aggressive he was against OP. Really move the car around left and right to try and find a way past. Or Swaggy, runs wide there at turn 13. That may cost him a warning. Round the final 2 bends. Crichton will have DRS. And pits. He undercuts. Pulls it up. And out come a set of hard tyres for the Mercedes. There goes the hard compound, and he'll come out in plenty of clear air as well. He'll come out well behind Harry Ryan. So he's got a license now to put the hammer down. Try and undercut Mr. Mountain Swaggy. Swaggy, he just doesn't seem to have the race pace at the moment. Mr. Mount's got the measure of him. And we got this train. Got OP Magic just there. Just in front of him is Leo. 9 tenths separate those two. Then it's One Slick Mofo Plebs. Then curving. Oh, who makes a mistake there. Fortunately, he caught that. Forming behind 4th place. Send easy on the back of Nachos, trying to find a way by. After Spilly overtook him, Nachos lost 1.7 seconds to the racing point, so Spilly's moving at the moment. Got plenty of speed. 1 slick mofo, 3-second time penalty. And into the pits goes Isaac, Kush and Swaggy. And someone else is coming in as well. Plebs. He's in. So they're all going to go for the hard tyre. Trying to negate the undercut that Crichton will be getting. Mr. Mount stays out for another lap. Where is that Mercedes? There it is there. And Crichton gets him. The undercut has worked. He's now in front of Swaggy. And most likely when Mr. Mount pits as well, he'd be in front of him. So Zach effectively finds himself in effective P2 once everyone has done the pit stop shuffle. Got this tremendous train of cars here. Send easy down the inside of Nachos, gets it done, and here comes Cyril JB. Following suit, they're side by side, drag racing towards turn 11. Cyril JB has the inside line. The McLaren goes deep, and here comes Wogboy. No, he can't find a way past here. Not in this section, he has to be patient. Oh, as he misses turn 13 completely and loses a bit of ground, bit of time. Into the pits goes Mr. Mount, so he's gone 1 lap longer. Leo is in. Same with OP Magic, they're all in. Onto a set of hards. Away he goes. And where will Mr. Mount come out in respective to Zach? There he is there. So he's been overtaken by Crichton and Swaggy. So Mr. Mount has gone from effective P2 to effective P4. But he does have a slight advantage with those fresher tyres. Problem is though, he has to get them up to temperature first. Nachos a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. So that's now 3 drivers who have that penalty. Fortunately for the 2 hard runners, they kept the noses clean, but now Isaac Kush has just overtaken Harry. So seems that starting on the hard tyre may not prove to pay too many dividends unless there's a properly placed safety car at some stage. An ideally placed safety car for the hard runners. Into the pits goes 1 slick mofo. Hard tyres, I imagine? Hard tyres indeed. That's annoying. We got 2 cars with number 2 on them. We got 1 slick mofo and Wogboy. Both of them are number 2 on their car. Ooh, because we have an overtake here. Speaking of number 2, Wogboy trying to find a way past Nachos. Nachos sporting the number 32. That was the number that Michael Schumacher had on his debut in the Jordan. Not that he chose it, of course. It was during an era where the number was allocated via the Constructors' Championship the year before. And as a result, when Michael joined the sport in 1991 at Spa, he had the number 32 on his Jordan 191. Just a nice little bit of history for you. Around the outside, Zach Crichton overtaking Harry Ryan there. And Swaggy, this is a ballsy move. And Nachos is out. He has crashed. Oh dear, this should be a safety car. This should be a safety car. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that that should be a safety car. You have got to be kidding me, game. First of all, why did it take so long? And second of all, virtual. You are joking. Thank goodness ghosting is turned on. Otherwise, drivers will really have to take evasive action. Medium runners are in. Taking full advantage of this. As they should. This will help them out tremendously. That's quite unbelievable, really. Car dead on the racing line as... Oh, for goodness sake. Wogboy, a drive-through penalty for speeding under VSC. Oh, and One Slick Mofo and Sandeezy and Leo, both Haasers have got drive-throughs. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. You have to be so incredibly careful with the Delta. You have to be so careful. You almost as if have to drive with your eyes purely glued to the Delta and use your peripheral vision to drive the car on the track. You're not driving incredibly quickly as Swaggy is trying to go down the inside. He gets it done. You're not driving incredibly quickly, so you don't need to be fully focused on each apex and whatnot. Just use your peripheral vision. You know, if you see a car slow down, you slow down. If you see a car speed up, you know, you speed up, sort of thing. But you need to keep your eyes glued on the Delta, it seems, because, yeah, we've seen a lot of drivers fall foul of that Delta under both safety car, but more in particularly under virtual safety car. And that has effectively ruined those 4 drivers' races, unless there's a proper safety car that comes out at some stage. Wogboy serving it. Same with Mofo. No, he stays out for some reason. Leo serving his drive-through. Nice little tour of the pit lane. You wouldn't be too impressed with it, I'm sure. But how is that not a proper safety car? That makes no sense at all. This game never ever ceases to amaze me. It never does. As Zach is genuinely putting on a challenge here to Izzat. So although Swaggy or Mr. Mount, they couldn't challenge the AlphaTauri, it appears that the black arrows of Crichton is. Through turn 12. Around turn 13, the gap is 7/10 of a second. See here, Zach doesn't have a great deal of ERS. Izzat's got a bit more, not a great deal more though. So these two are going to have a tremendous battle. Well, that's what I certainly hope. As Spilly and Plebs side by side. Spilly gets it done. Next target is OP Magic, and he get this done. DRS open. Both drivers using overtake, but Spilly has the advantage. A late defend there from OP. He squeezes. And here comes Plebs. No, he doesn't go for the move. But Spilly goes deep, allowing for OP to try and get a switchback of some description. Round turn 3. DRS open. He's looking down the inside. He's going for the move here. The McLaren getting squeezed off the racetrack. They make a bit of contact. And here comes Plebs. A double overtake for the McLaren. What a brilliant bit of patience there. Perfectly demonstrating the art of waiting. It's fantastic. Honestly, just being patient, waiting for the right time to go for a move. He overtook 2 cars into one corner there. Fantastic. Though it's certainly not over. Spilly is going to counter-attack, I'm sure. Same with OP. One Slick Mofo has to make a tour through the pit lane. He does have a drive-through that he must serve. Oh. And curving's in. our race leader, into the pit lane. Set of hard tyres awaits. Onto him he goes. He leaves the pit lane. So, the pit stop shuffles are more or less over. Polish Gorilla will have to make another stop, but that's about it. Where will Curving come out? Oh, he'll come out into this, will he? He is. This. Oh, and OP's lost a lot of time, so there's something I missed with OP. He's lost plenty of time. Fortunately, he's behind his teammates, so these two can work together here. Try and catch up to the cars in front. Try and secure a great finish for Red Bull as... Oh, mate, Kurt? Yeah. When it's not going your way, it's not going your way. Incident on lap 1 and then a spin at turn 12. It just rubs salt into the wound, really. And then we have this at the front. Isaac, Crichton, Swaggy and Mr. Mount. They're all in this now. So perhaps it wasn't Crichton that had a response to Isaac's pace. Perhaps Isaac just isn't comfortable with the hard tyre right now. Perhaps his setup really revolved around the soft compound. And as a result, when he switches to the hards, he's lost a fair amount of time. Though he's now starting to pull a bit more of a margin over Crichton. It's almost 1 second, but not quite. Crichton is dumping everything he's got right now. He's got next to no resources left when it comes to ERS. But this is quite typical of Crichton. He's not much of a saver. Tends to dump all that he's got. Mean. Curving on the back of this. And OP Magic now 2 seconds behind. So OP does have some sort of problem. Does he have damage, perhaps? Yes, he does. He's missing an end plate. That does explain a lot. So he must have made contact on the previous lap with one of the drivers he was battling with. As a result, he's now missing an end plate. Either that or he made a mistake himself and lost time. Send easy a 3-second time penalty. Multiple warnings. So we've got a couple of things to keep our eye on. Battle for 6th place between Pled, Spilly and Texas. Oh, and there are 2 drivers who haven't done the pit stops. Harry and Wogboy still haven't done their pit stops. So the pit stop shuffle isn't over quite just yet. So we've got this battle for 6th, and we have the battle for the lead that might materialise between Isaac, Crichton, Swaggy and Mr. Mount. And here comes Spilly on the attack down the inside towards turn 1. Gets it done before the braking zone, pulls back onto the racing line. Straightforward move there. No harm done. And Spilly gets a fantastic run through turn 2. And here comes Curving attacking down the inside. Oh, they make a bit of contact. That puts the Red Bull of Curving Texas into a bit of a unsettled state. But there was no harm in that. There was no hurtful intent there. They were just racing hard. I'm sure Curving will understand that. But from that little battle, Plebs has lost a little bit of time. He's still within DRS range though. And now Harry's falling back into this battle on those hard tyres that he's on. The 15 lap old hards that he's on. Allmaker, rather understandably, electing to retire from the race. But if there's a safety car at any stage, then he'd probably kick himself. But I completely understand that. Crichton weaving left and right, filling the mirrors of Izzat, who isn't phased at the moment. Doing what they need to do as Harry goes into the pits. Sector 1, yellow flags. Oh, it's the AI. Oh, no. Oh, Spilly. Oh, spinning the car there. And now curving on the attack. Will he go for the big dive bomb? No, he'll think more sensibly. Through the high-speed S's, we'll probably see curving lose time through here as he has to deal with the dirty air coming from the McLaren. You see that not too much time was lost. You can see the carpet of rubber, can't you, at the apex of turn 8. There's plenty of it, and we'll see it again here. Look at that. All that rubber just being laid down there. Make it a very grippy surface, that's for sure. Curving, applying pressure. Might go for a move here. Down the inside, but doesn't force the issue too hard. Just showed the nose. Making sure Plebs knows that he's right there, ready to attack. Round turn 13. Sit in the slipstream, use a bit of overtake. See here, Plebs doesn't have a lot. Compared to what Curving's got, he's got a surplus of ERS. Around the final two bends. As Crichton goes for the lead. They are battling here at the front. So Crichton isn't mucking around. He's made the move stick, and now Swaggy might go for it here as well. Izzat has to stay on the racing line as they go through turn 4, and he doesn't fight. But he will try and get a switch back. Can't get it done though. He'll slot in behind the Alfa Romeo, who runs wide. They're side by side through turn 7, now into turn 8. And with the inside line, they make contact, and more contact, and here comes Mr. Mount. Shoots on by. Oh, and Izzat runs wide, and that will hold up Swaggy a bit more. They're going to lose time now to Zach, who's built up an almost 1 second margin already. Dear, oh dear. Up the hill, round turn 12. Turn 13. Zach has pulled out a 1.1 second margin. They need to get within 1. And I think Mr. Mount will just get there. He will. Same with Izzat, same with Swaggy. This battle might not be over just yet. Even with the scuffle between Izzat and Swaggy, this is still on here for the lead as Mr. Mount is closing in on the Mercedes-Benz of Crichton. Into turn 1 with 11 laps to go. And Curving Texas has clawed onto the back of Spilly. How did he do that? And Plebs is right there as well, as Curving goes into 5th place now. So, got two spiffing battles going on as Wogboy goes into the pits. As Sandizi has retired from the session at the final turn. Sorry, no, turn 14. And another virtual safety car. As One Slick Mofo has retired in the pit lane. So that makes it 4 retirements, which will mean everyone who finishes will score points. But what's an interesting retirement there at the final corner. There just might be a steward's inquest in regards to that. Drive-through penalty for Curving Texas, speeding on the virtual safety car. We've seen it several times in tonight's race, and Curving has just fallen foul to the Codemaster stewards. What a shame. He was looking at a top 5 finish. He's now going to fall well behind that. Oh dear, oh dear. We got a 4-way scrap for the win here. All of them have a shot of taking victory. But out of all the drivers that you want leading, Zach Crichton will be at the very bottom of that list, because I witnessed this man put on one hell of a defensive display on F1 2019 at this very racetrack. The man who challenged him, as OP Magic had retired from the session as well. Where is his car? He is... And a safety car! Safety car! Safety car! He has crashed out there. Now, did he voluntarily retire, or did he actually end up there? Because that's an odd... Like we saw with old mate Kurt, when the AI takes over in the pit lane, it goes round turn 1, and it sort of pulls off to a bit of tarmac on the inside, and then it stops. That looked like he crashed. And as a result, we have a safety car. Now, we had an incident prior to this involving Nachos, where the car was dead on the middle of the racetrack, and all we got was a virtual. With OP, he crashed on the pit straight. His car was on the grass. If you wanted a virtual safety car, that was the perfect time to get it out. But no, we got a proper one for this. I swear it's just RNG. There is no way there is a proper sort of system behind how safety cars are brought out. It has to be RNG. Onto the soft tyre goes Izzat. Medium tyres for Crichton. Oh, has Crichton blown it? He's gone mediums, everyone else has gone softs. Uh-oh. Has Crichton blown it here? He does have track position over the cars behind though, and if he can somehow stay in front, then the advantage that the soft tyres have, they'll effectively nullify themselves. The soft tyres loses their edge after only a few laps. So, okay. But a lot of drivers on soft tyres, and this hurts curving even more. Because guess what? He still has his drive-through. This has hurt curving Texas massively. Because he'll be finishing dead last. Now, without any doubt, he is finishing last. That's really unfortunate, and I don't like saying that, but he will. Simply because he has a drive-through penalty which he must serve under green flag conditions, and with the field bunched up, he's going to be in 13th, a long way behind. I think his race is over for anything higher than 13th, unless we get another safety car, which might happen. So, but anyway, wheel disconnected. There we go. There we go. So that has happened. Well, it's happened to me before on a controller at Abu Dhabi, and it was terrifying. I was on the back straightaway heading out of the hairpin. That's turn 8. I think it's turn 8. On the long back straightaway, and halfway down rather, the back straight, controller disconnects, and with my controller, when it disconnects for about 3 or 4 seconds, it does whatever input I was doing, and it won't change. And I was in 8th gear, absolutely flat out. So for 4 or 5 seconds, I couldn't do anything. Then it comes up with the prompt that my controller disconnected. I reconnected, and I managed to stop the car, but I'd still hit the wall at the runoff area at turn 9. But I managed to stay in the race. It was unbelievably terrifying. But yeah, that's quite sad to hear, Sendeezy, that your wheel disconnected there. It's just one of those unfortunate things, isn't it, that you can't really do anything about. But with a few, well, at least a lap under safety car under our belts, we can talk about the scenario of this race, because it's well and truly on here. Now it might not just be the top 4. We may be asking the likes of Wogboy if he can really nail a start. I know he's a very quick driver. If he can nail the restart, nab a few places early, we might see him in this fight as well at the front. I would also say Curving Texas, but he's got a bloody drive-through that he has to serve, and there's absolutely nothing he can do about it. And Spilly? Well, I'm sure he would like to scrap with the top 4, but he has a 3-second time penalty. Not that that will phase him though, he will still go for it, I imagine. So... This will be a very interesting finish. We saw Australia. We're going to see another one here tonight. Safety car is in this lap. So, we will have 7 laps. From lap 23 to 29. That will dictate the winner of this race. Zach has got a lot of work to do. Izzat in prime position here in second place. Oh dear, bit of a lag spike there. They round the final bend. When does Zach go? He's waiting. Oh, he hasn't given enough time to the safety car to pull into the pits. This is going to be an agricultural restart if ever I saw one. We're back under green flag racing, and Zach has royally screwed this up. He could have pulled out quite a big margin if he nailed the restart. And Swaggy looking around the long way into turn 1. Spinley down the inside. Plebs down the inside of Harry. They go through turn 2 side by side. You can see there in the background. We'll flick to them just ever so briefly. But we can see here the field heading towards turn 4. And there's Curving Texas in the pit. Oh dear, he was trying to serve his drive. No, sorry, he has served his drive-through. He has served his drive-through. It's all good. Never mind. I thought they did a regular pit stop, but no. They did the drive-through. So JB overtaking Harry and Ryan. This is for 8. Harry's going to be a bit of a sitting duck on those tyres. Is that holding Swaggy at bay? Critically for Crichton, he is maintaining this lead. Only just though, this is close stuff. Round turn 11. Up and over the hill at turn 12. And into 13. 4 drivers, all of them in with a shot to win. Now towards turn 14. And around the final turn 15, this little kink here. And Crichton weaving here to try and break the toe. Is that Kushset's fastest lap? Using overtake to close in. Will he go for a dive bomb here into 1? He's going for it. They make contact. Clubbers over the curve. Oh dear. Oh. And here comes Swaggy. And actually, no. It's actually Mr. Mount who made the position there. Oh, and goes into the rear tyre, Mr. Mount, who gets sent wide. I thought Swaggy was going to capitalise with Izzat's sort of compromised run through turn 2, but no, he actually lost a position to Mr. Mount in that exchange. Oh, and Swaggy's trying to, Spilly is trying to find a way past. Alright. No DRS just yet. We'll get it on the next lap. And here comes Izzat. Down the inside into 11. They make contact and spin! Oh, and more contact. And goes through Spilly. Threads the needle. He goes into second. And there's Swaggy now down in 5th. He's got Wad Boy, who's now introduced himself to this battle. I thought he might. It appears that the Ferrari man has nailed the restart. He's now in this scrap for the lead. Through he goes, and there's Plebs. Swaggy, though, he's got a bit of problems. He's missing an end plate as DRS is enabled. Spilly, he doesn't care about the 3 seconds of penalties. He wants to win this on track. Whatever happens, happens. He wants this. Curving Texas sets fastest lap. In a clear air, that does not surprise me. Crichton holding a half a second margin. But I think with Izzat, pulled the trigger too early. Way too early. Could have afforded to just sit behind. At least, oh dear, and Swaggy is losing a lot of positions now, down to 10th. What Izzat could have afforded to do, instead of just instinctively going for the move, be patient. Because DRS was going to be enabled, you could have thought about an overtake in a few laps time, utilising the soft tyre, utilising DRS to try and find a way past. And something has happened here. TP has spun round with massive wing. Safety car! You are joking! You have got to be kidding me. That is a safety car. For debris. And Zach's going in? No, he's not. Spedley's not going in either. And why would he? The cars behind won't, so yeah. Of course Zach isn't going to pit. But how about that? A safety car because of debris. Game makes no sense. Anyway, this has saved Swaggy a little bit. This has definitely saved curving. But this has saved Swaggy and TP in fairness. Get that front wing changed, get some fresh rubber. Now, none of these guys have penalties, so you can't rely on drivers in front with penalties for you to gain positions. I imagine we're going to see drivers absolutely send it here. But how about that? Another twist in this tail here at Sakhir. So that statement I made earlier, this final 7 laps will dictate the race. Turns out I'm wrong. As GeForce TP gets himself a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting on the safety car. That's a bit of a boo-boo there. So whenever the safety car comes in, and it'll probably be next lap, it'll be a 2-lap dash to the line. 2-lap dash to the checkered flag. Okie dokie then. So this is effectively a repeat of Australia. This is exactly what happened in Australia, minus 1 safety car. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And there'll be no DRS, which will help Crichton out tremendously. Without DRS, it's going to be incredibly difficult for anyone to get past that Mercedes-Benz. And we are doing another lap. The field is now all caught up. We'll do lap 27 on the safety car, and I assume the safety car will go in. Harry's taking advantage of it. He's pitting off these medium tyres. He'll go on to softs. This is quite a good decision here, because on those old medium tyres, he was a sitting duck. Now he isn't. And he'll catch up to the back of the train, I'm sure. I have no idea who's going to win this race. Oh boy. Right. Don't know what to say. This is going to be a very, very intriguing finish. Crichton's got track position, but he's on the medium tyre. Spilly's in P2 on those softs, but he has a penalty. Nachos has left the session. He's not going to witness this. Mr. Mount is the next car who doesn't have penalties. In P3, he has to get past Spilly. And there's Izzat. Led the majority of the race. Took pole in qualifying. And he's on the soft tyre as well, which he utilised to full effect at the beginning of this race. Wogboy's made a charge through the field. And it's likely he's not going to stop charging through the field. So this is it. It's all come down to this. The final 11 Ks of this race. And anyone can win. Fantastic. But this time Crichton gives appropriate space to the safety car to allow it to go into the pit lane. And away he... Oh, he's really backing up the field here. Oh, and there's penalties! There's penalties! 5 seconds for Swaggy, 5 seconds for Curving, 5 seconds for TP as we go back on the green flag racing. Mr. Mount has nailed the restart, but he can't get past Spilly. Oh, there's biffing and barging here. There is, I think I saw an end plate fly off. But there are a few shenanigans here in the midfield. Drivers making contact and getting penalties. Oh, and a 5-second penalty for Swaggy. Corner coming, gaining a place, and more damage in the background. As Leo has now got missing end plates on his car. But Crichton pulling away from second here. Mr. Mount, he will try desperately to find a way past and try and launch any sort of assault on Crichton. Using overtake, sitting in the slipstream. Spilly holds the Williams at bay. Izzat trying to find a way by as well. There might be a few question marks in regard to that restart. Spilly was sideways there. He managed to catch it though. Using overtake. It'll be very, very difficult for Mr. Mount to find a way past. He needs to go for that big daddy send at turn 1. He has to. He has no choice, really. If he wants that peak... Oh, but it might be given to him. Spilly with the mistake. This will help him out tremendously. In the slipstream, using overtake. Probably using Rich Mix as well. Pulls to the inside. Heading towards turn 1 on the final lap. And he makes the move stick. Izzat tries to follow. Can't make that stick. And Spilly slots in behind in third. Can Mr. Mount do anything? Or has Zach got this in the bag? He's got a fairly healthy margin of 1.5 seconds. Can he find a way past Spilly? Or he was awkward through the high-speed S section there, and here comes Wogboy. Round the long way, perhaps no. And curving Texas with that 5-second penalty. That will hurt him in the unofficial results. We'll have to see what the race spec stewards decide. I'm sure there's going to be an incident report about that. Safety car restart. Resulted in a lot of drivers getting penalties. Around turn 11. And it looks as if this man will go to the checkered flag unchallenged. Heading down the final long straight towards the final 2 turns on the racetrack. How about that? On the medium tyre, he will cross the line in first place. Crichton wins here at Sakhir with Mr. Mount, a personal best finish of second. Izzat Kush in third. Unofficially, I should put that little asterisk there. Unofficially. Wogboy given driver of the day after what happened in qualifying with him not setting a sort of respective lap time compared to the rest of the field. That's probably very fair indeed. From effectively the back towards fourth, it's quite a recovery drive. It's a win for Crichton. Second place goes to Mr. Mount. Third to Izzat Kush. But there might be a few inquiries after the race that may shape or reshape this finishing order. But for now, the unofficial results are GeForce Crichton winning by 1.4 seconds over Mr. Mount with Izzat Kush in third. Wogboy from 18th to 4th. Last to 4th. That's pretty solid effort there. Polish Gorilla in 5th. Spilly 6th. Plebs in 7th. That's actually a pretty solid effort from Spilly there. Up 10 places. Fine drive. Cyril JB up from 13th. Harry Ryan in 9th. Kevin Texas finishes in the 10 with fastest lap. Then TP, then Leo, then Swaggy. Those are our finishes for this event. Every other driver DNF'd. So, there we go. Not exactly the dramatic finish we would have liked to see at the front, but we definitely had some interesting moments during those final few laps of the race. But again, nothing is concrete in terms of the results just yet. As we found out in Australia, where Plevs won the race unofficially after further stewards' investigations, it turned out to be Zach Crichton who won that event in Australia. So we'll have to wait and see in regards to the stewards' reports, because I'm sure there'll be some people who have an opinion on that final safety car restart. So a lot of drivers get 5-second penalties because of it. So I'm sure there'll be a discussion of sorts. But that was actually a pretty solid race day here at Sakhir. Lots of fun indeed. But the action doesn't stop here. Tomorrow we'll have the Americas Series up and running. That'll be a lot of fun to watch. And then on the weekend we'll have the RS tiers battle it out as well. But probably more importantly in our Formula One community, the opening round of the 2021 Formula One season will finally be underway at Bahrain. It should be an absolute banger, hopefully. Well, after what everyone's talked about in the F1 community, apparently Red Bull have really made a resurgence towards the top of the field. I think it's just Mercedes sandbagging, but we'll wait and see on the weekend. But next week, what's after Bahrain? I do not remember. Let's have a look, see. Boopity boopity boop. Oh, Shanghai. So we go from one Tilkedrome to another. Shanghai International Circuit it's a unique racetrack. It's very few positives I can say about it, really. It's got an incredibly unique turns 1, 2, 3 and 4 with that sort of snail section. You've got the high-speed S's in Sector 2. And then you've got the kilometre-long straight that leads into the tight hairpin of turn 14, I want to say. I think it's turn 14, the hairpin, which we'll see the majority of overtaking there. And also we can see on the rare occasion some wet weather as well, and that might toss up a few extra sort of things for the drivers to worry about. But till next time, I've been the Smeg. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for the Chinese round of the PlayStation Tier 1 Pacific Series at Shanghai International Circuit. Until then, goodbye.